All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to take what is probably the most incredible journey possible. We're not going across the globe, we're going deep inside ourselves. We are going to explore the absolutely stunning, complex machine that you call home, your body. And we're going to start with a number that is just almost impossible to wrap your head around.
Just let that number sink in for a second. 37 trillion individual living cells, and they're all working together in concert. I mean, how? How do they know what to do? How do they talk to each other? How does this massive, bustling city of cells keep you alive and breathing right now? Well, that is the exact puzzle we are going to start piecing together today. So to even begin to understand this incredible machine, we need to look at it from two different angles. And scientists, they use two main lenses for this: anatomy and physiology. You can think of them as two totally different blueprints for the exact same incredible structure.
The difference between them is actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. Anatomy is the what. It is the complete parts list for your body. It describes the structure of your heart, the shape of your bones, the exact path of your nerves. But physiology, that's the how. It's the instruction manual. It explains how the heart actually pumps blood, how your bones support your weight, and how those nerves fire off signals. Honestly, they're two sides of the same coin. You really can't understand one without the other.
Okay, so to get the whole machine, we have to see how it's built, layer by layer. So we're going to do a zoom in. We're going to start with you as a whole person, and we're just going to peel back the layers one by one all the way down to the very atoms that make you, well, you.
So it all starts at the top, right? The organismal level. That's just you, the whole person. Go one level down, and you've got the system level, like your entire digestive system working together as a team. Now zoom in on that system, and you'll find a single organ, like your stomach. The wall of that stomach, it's made of different tissues, and those tissues in turn are built from billions of individual cells. And finally, when you get right down to it, each cell is just a complex bag of chemicals, atoms and molecules like DNA and proteins. It's this beautiful, elegant hierarchy that allows for so much complexity to come from such simple building blocks. So with all these levels, with trillions of parts all working at once, how does it not all just fall into total chaos? The answer is this absolutely crucial concept, this constant, delicate balancing act that's happening inside you every single second of your life. And here it is, the secret sauce, homeostasis. It's simply the body's ability to maintain a stable internal world no matter what's going on outside. You ever stand up too fast and feel dizzy for a second? That feeling? That's a tiny, momentary blip in homeostasis as your body scrambles to get your blood pressure back on track. It's your internal thermostat, your manager, and your repair crew all rolled into one, always making these tiny adjustments to keep everything in that perfect sweet spot for life.
So how does it do this? It's through a really simple but brilliant feedback system. First, you have a receptor, let's say a nerve ending in your skin, and it senses a change. It's getting cold. That receptor sends a signal to a control center, which is usually your brain. Your brain looks at this input and decides, okay, we need to warm up. Finally, it sends a command to an effector, like your muscles, which then carry out the response, in this case, shivering to generate heat. Receptor, control center, effector. This little loop is the absolute foundation of how your body regulates itself.
Now, these feedback loops, they come in two main flavors. The vast majority of them are negative feedback loops. These act like a brake pedal. Their whole job is to reverse a change and bring things back to normal. But sometimes the body needs an accelerator. And that's positive feedback, which reinforces and strengthens a change, pushing it forward and forward until a specific goal is met. Let's use a classic example of negative feedback that you know really well. When your body temperature starts to rise, receptors detect it, your brain issues a command, and your sweat glands, the effectors, kick into action and produce sweat to cool you down. As soon as your temperature gets back to that normal set point, the system just shuts off. It negated the original change, bringing you back into balance. Positive feedback is much rarer, but it's so critical. The best example, hands down, is childbirth. When contractions start, they stretch the cervix. Receptors there send a signal up to the brain, which then releases the hormone oxytocin. Well, oxytocin makes the contractions even stronger, which causes more stretching, which causes more oxytocin release. You see? This reinforcing loop just builds and builds and builds until the baby is born, and that's what finally breaks the cycle. It's an accelerator, pedal to the floor, pushing toward a final goal.
Okay, we've seen the big picture of the body. Now let's zoom all the way down to level 5 on our list, the cellular level. We're going inside the basic unit of life, and believe me, it is an entire world of its own in there. It is the busiest factory on Earth.
So if a cell is a factory, then these organelles are its specialized departments. The ribosomes, they're the assembly lines, busy building all the proteins. The Golgi complex is basically the shipping department, packaging those proteins up and sending them where they need to go. Lysosomes are the cleanup crew, recycling and getting rid of waste. And then there's the power plant.
Oh yeah, the power plant of the cell, the mitochondrion. This is where the real magic happens. It takes the fuel from the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe, and it converts them into something called ATP. Think of ATP as the universal energy currency for all of life. It's like pure energy cash. Every single thing your body does requires it. Without the mitochondria just constantly churning out ATP, the whole factory would go completely dark.
Of course, a factory needs to get raw materials in and ship finished products out. The cell's outer wall, the plasma membrane, is the gatekeeper, and it uses two main ways to control traffic. There is passive transport, which is kind of like floating downstream. Substances just move from a high concentration to a low one, no energy required. But then there's active transport. That's like paddling upstream. It moves stuff against the current, and that takes a lot of energy, which it gets in the form of ATP from our old friend, the mitochondrion.
A perfect example of active transport is the sodium-potassium pump. Just picture this tiny, tireless machine in the cell's wall. It is constantly burning ATP as fuel to do one very specific job. For every cycle, it forcefully kicks 3 sodium ions out of the cell, and at the exact same time, it pulls 2 potassium ions in. This constant pumping action creates an electrical gradient, kind of like charging a tiny battery. And that electrical charge is what powers every single nerve impulse in your body. It is one of the most critical energy hogs your body has.
So we have these amazing little cellular factories. But what happens when you get a cut or you just need to grow? Well, the body needs to make more of them. And this brings us to the final, absolutely incredible process we're going to look at today, cell division.
When you think of cell division for things like growth and repair, you're thinking of mitosis. Its whole purpose is to take one parent cell and produce 2 perfect, genetically identical daughter cells. It's the body's photocopier, making sure every new skin cell or muscle cell has the exact same blueprint as the original. And this isn't some messy, chaotic process. It's a beautifully choreographed dance in 4 acts. First, in prophase, all that loose DNA coils up super tight into those classic X-shaped chromosomes we all recognize. Then, in metaphase, all of those chromosomes line up perfectly right down the middle of the cell. In anaphase, they're pulled apart with one identical copy getting yanked to each side. And finally, in telophase, the cell itself splits in 2, and 2 new cells are formed, each with a complete and totally flawless set of genetic instructions. So from the huge design of your organ systems all the way down to the intricate dance of mitosis, it's impossible not to be in awe, right? Every level of organization, every single feedback loop, every little cellular machine, it's all part of this one coordinated and just breathtakingly complex system.
And all of that brings us to one final fascinating question to leave you with. We've seen that mitosis creates genetically identical cells. So if every single cell in your body has the exact same DNA blueprint, how on earth does one cell know to become a neuron that can think, while another one knows to become a muscle cell that can contract? Well, that's a story for another time.